Good morning, everyone. This is Diane. Let's pray that this video is one I can publish. I've been struggling making videos. I had two that I didn't want to upload. One of them was one I did last night, making these. And I was struggling too much on the video and being very indecisive, and I didn't think you would enjoy it. So I decided not to upload it. And then there was another one from Sunday that I didn't want to upload. So before I started this video, I started to delete those videos so that I wouldn't get confused when uploading. And I accidentally deleted a video that I did want to upload, which was a flip through of the Shabby Chic journals that I just finished. So I'm going to have to redo that, but that video will be shown before this one. Anyway, let's just hope that I can actually do a video that I can upload. So today's video is going to be a Somerset Studio video, or a Somerset inspired video. And I could say it's kind of a Stashistry because although I'm not using my stash of vintage recipe cards, I am using them in the way that I am making copies of them and putting them to use. I'm not using up these vintage cards, although I did cut one of them. I went through my vintage recipes and my Betty Crocker recipe card things and found all the chocolate ones. And while I was at it, I looked for the strawberry ones because I'm going to be doing a strawberry themed journal pretty soon. And then I cut one of the cards into strips, and this one, you can see how fragile it is. It broke. But I can still glue it down or sew it down or something. I will use this. But I decided that I shouldn't cut up my vintage recipe cards because the handwritten ones, they're so precious. And I would stick these in a journal, but cutting them up, I just decided to make copies. So this is an original. I just cut up the ones I made copies of. But the ones I made copies of, I copied them in color so that the vintage aging comes through. So this is just a copy, but it looks like a real vintage recipe. So these are the ones I made yesterday, and I love them. I especially love the ones with the border punch. I'm going to show you those in more detail in just a moment, but first let me show you the books that I'm using for these journals. This one is the Hershey's 1934 cookbook. It's a reproduction, and this was a 1970s edition, which was purchased at Hershey's Chocolate World in Hershey, Pennsylvania for $1.50. I actually purchased one of these books in the 1970s at the Hershey's drugstore when my husband and I were on our honeymoon. If you recall my telling of why Hershey's was so important to my family, my husband, very briefly, went to school there at the Milton Hershey School for Boys. And now it's just Milton Hershey School. It's not just for boys anymore. And it was for orphans. He lost his mother when he was quite young. Now it's for boys and girls, and it's for underprivileged children, or I don't know what the qualifications are, but it's all paid for by the Hershey Corporation, and it's a wonderful, wonderful school. So anyway, that was part of our honeymoon. He took me on a tour of Hershey, and I was only 19, so you know, Hershey Park was still great fun. Anyway, I bought this book when I was on my honeymoon, and I'm keeping my copy of it. I'm not cutting that up ever. But my daughter-in-law found this for me. I'm sorry I went off on that tangent. But I thought I love the picture, and I just thought this would be a really great journal. And my daughter-in-law bought it for me with the intention of, she knew I'd want to make a journal out of it. This is one I found at a flea market from Nestle. I don't know the date of it, but this one was hinged at the top. It had wire binding at the top. But I'm going to have to cover up that raw edge, and I will bind mine at the side. But I just love that cover. And look at the back. And then after I make these two journals, I will make two chocolate smash books. I had to use this one. Look at that. Chocolate shavings and curls. Just beautiful. It's just called Chocolate by Nick, excuse me, Malgieri. And look at the inside. Just chunks of chocolate. So cool. And there's pages in that book that I can use in any of the journals. And then this one is Betty Crocker's Chocolate Cookbook. Again, beautiful illustration or photograph on the front. I don't think I have the page that would give us the date. No. It is vintage. It's not super old, but it might be from the 70s or 80s, I believe. So those are coming up. And this is the Somerset Life magazine article that was my inspiration right there. Romancing the Recipe Card, and this is from Somerset Life of spring 2011. So I made them first with the border punch, the edge punch, and I just put a little lace at the bottom, a little lace or crochet at the top. This one has vintage tatting. And this one has this really, really nice resin vintage ornament at the top. It's flat. It's not, it is dimensional, but it's not very thick. And I got that at a flea market. This one has lace, has vintage crochet and lace and a vintage applique and some lace at the bottom. And then I tried without doing the border punch, and I just put some tatting and used some purple at the top and the bottom. There's fabric back there that you can't even really see the fabric, and a little bit of sheer purple ribbon. And this piece, there's a vendor at one of the flea markets that I go to that has jewelry and stuff, and some of it is sold by the piece, and then she has containers that just have stuff all mixed together, buttons and pieces, and she'll sell them for so many for $1. So I think all three of these pieces came from her at one time or another. This one, I pulled out this gorgeous green and pink lace, and I didn't sew it on the card very straight. It's off a little bit here and the card shows there, but there you go. And there's some vintage trim at the bottom in a pale pink, and this little covered crocheted piece. Okay, so, but I really like the ones with the border punches, so that's what I'm going to continue on. So I cut my recipes into about 1-inch strip. I think they're a little bit less than an inch, but I just cut them into strips so I can use them. And I cut this ivory cardstock 2 inches by 7.5, and so that fits nicely on there, especially that one. I guess with this punch it could have been a little bit narrower. This one was narrower. Yeah, that would work nicely. But this is a shorter one. I have some recipes that were not as, they were 3 by 5, and these recipes were, I don't know, I think 5 by 7. So that one will work good for that one. I did ink that. I inked the finished ones. These I'll just ink after I'm done. So let's just start. I'm going to use this one first, and I have this recipe for chocolate pecan sherbet. Can you imagine? That doesn't sound good to me at all. Well, I don't know. Chocolate sherbet doesn't sound good, and I don't like pecans. So I'm going to start by just sewing this on to my card, and then we'll choose our decorations. I put brown thread in my machine because it's a chocolate journal. I got into my metal pieces and found these slides that I've had for a long time, and then these little, I think somebody must have sent these to me, but I had these colored ones for a long time, and I just, last night I threaded some ribbon through them so they'd be all ready. I love the pink. I think I really like the pink with the green. So that would look nice at the top there. I cut the ribbons way longer than I needed, but I just wanted to make it easy to thread. So I want to put something behind that. This might be too wide. No, I think that'll work. Might as well do two while we're at it, right? Save some time. So this to the top. Yeah. I was thinking about cutting that into a tag shape. I did some of them, but this is just going to cover it anyway. So it's going to hang off the top a bit, and then I will glue this on. I might want a little tuft of something in there. That looks pretty. Okay, so I'm going to add a little piece of this sheer embroidered trim, and it's vintage. I'm going to sew this down. Got it caught around the foot. Okay, I've got my glue here. If there's any left, I should have gotten out my fresh bottle of glue because this one's almost gone. So for this, I'm just going to put the glue right here. I should have sewn across the top of this too, but I'll just glue it down now, since I already have that metal on there. And now I need a little something at the bottom. This lace came in the package from Nancy. I was trying to think who I got a Happy Meal from. Nancy. She had this tied around, or tied through the large envelope that she created with ledger paper. Do I want to put some more pink gingham at the bottom? I think so. I think that'd be good. I did that in a zigzag just to be decorative. Okay, so there's a finished one. It says chocolate pecan sherbet. Let's do this little one. Do it with the title on it, Chocolate Cake with Yeast. Also, I stamped these little chocolate chips. I have a chocolate chip stamp. I stamped them on muslin to use in the journals, and I was thinking about adding this down there. What do you think? I think because it's so wide, I think that would work there. I could sew it on. Let's do that. Give it a brown edge. So there's lots of sewing back here, but you could still write something in there. I think I really like it with that chocolate chip sewn on there. Like it, like it. Okay, back to where we were. I might like it on here too. Detour. Yeah, that adds a nice touch to it. So we're just going to go back to a straight stitch and sew this piece on here. Oh, it is a straight stitch. Okay, what do we want to decorate it with? I have these really cool edge metal pieces to put on edges. I think that's really neat. Do I have 2 green brads that go with it? I don't see it. Oh, there's one. There's a green brad. I've had these for years, and I've been trying to carefully maintain all the pieces, but you know how that goes. I think I lost the green brads. That's okay. I'll find some brads that will work. So I think I might want to use that, but I'll put some lace or something underneath it. Yeah, that looks good. I'll just sew this down. Okay, I'm gonna go grab my brads. If you saw the tour of my craft room and its adjoining spaces, the brads are on that bookshelf unit that's in between the 2 rooms. So I'll just use these white brads. I don't know if I can poke them through without punching anything because it's just lace. I don't think I can. I'm gonna get my pokey tool. Is it lined up? No. No wonder it won't poke. The metal isn't lined up. Not folded properly. So, I think I will just glue that down. I want to have the brads in there, but I can't poke them through. So I'm going to glue it. I'm getting my glossy accents. Just put some glue in there. I can't get the glue out. There, I think I broke through something there. Maybe not. There we go. That was too much glossy accents. So I'll probably have to find something that I can glue there. I don't think I have any bling left. I think I got rid of it all when I destashed because I don't use it. But now I want it. Just little tiny pearls or something to put there. I could cut the prongs off of those and glue them down, but we'll figure something out later. I'm not going to take the time right now. Okay, now we need something at the bottom. Could put a little bit of tatting down there. I bought a box of miscellaneous crafty stuff, needlework stuff, and at the flea market a couple years ago, and there was a whole mass of vintage tatting, and some of it was some of it was completed, some of it wasn't, and different sizes, styles, colors. It was dirty. I washed it with woolite. I hand washed it with woolite. I'm just going to glue this on. And then it was all crinkled up real tight. So I had to iron it. Do you know how hard it is to straighten all these little things out and iron without getting your fingers? But it was well worth the work. I knew that this tatting would be a treasure if I could be patient with it, and I love it. Just use little bits of it here and there. So this looks like a more simplified one, but it was a little tougher because of that thing there. It's not quite done yet because I have to put something over the holes. But I do like it. It's a pretty one. I actually think that that is too wide. So I'm going to trim this down and punch another one. Missed a spot again. This says, then add vanilla and chocolate. Add remaining sugar, thin with milk until right consistency to spread. I'm probably making more than I'm going to use, unless I put one in each signature. I'm slowly gathering some homemade ephemera that I make in some of these videos to put in bundles in my shop. The fabric flips went over well. Thank you very much for that. We'll have to do some more of those sometime. Wonder if this green is too wide. Nope. Should have gone down the side because I went down that side, so I want it to look consistent. I'll take one of these. I'm not sure what color metal that is, but it's got a sheer ribbon on it. Glossy Accents works great for the metal pieces. Ooh, I think we're just about done with that bottle. The Glossy Accents takes longer to dry, so I'm gonna set something on top of it to hold it down and set it aside, and then I will glue the ends of the ribbon around the back. That won't work. I'll put my book covers on top of it. Okay. Ugh, dripping, dripping, dripping. Don't know where my wet wipes are. I'm anxious to start assembling my pages, getting them cut and assembled. That's when I feel like I'm really started on the journal. But if I can get some of these things made, and then I can put this mess away, maybe. So how many do I have made? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I make one more, I'll have 2 for each journal of the junk journals. I don't know if these are going in the smash books. I don't usually do these kind of embellishments for smash books. Right now I'm just concentrating on the junk journals. That was the one that was too wide. This width is fine with this punch. Yep. Mess that up. I made some rice bags yesterday. My daughter-in-law wanted a rice bag. It's just cotton fabric that you sew into a square or whatever shape you want and fill it with rice, not instant rice. And then you can either chill it or heat it to put on aches and pains and put it on your face if you have a migraine. That's what she wanted it for. So my daughter was at Walmart and I asked her to get me some chocolate chips because for some reason I think maybe I was cutting the recipes thicker. I'm going to use this one even though there's not much writing on it. I use that one because it has more color. But that way there's room for writing on it. Anyway, I haven't been able to find chocolate chips. So she found some and bought them for me. And then she also picked up a bag of rice because she knew I was going to make a bag for Stephanie. Well, she got this humongous bag of rice. So I asked her if she wanted a rice bag, and she said she'd like a long, narrow one for her neck, to put around her neck, and that the boys also enjoyed using them from time to time, so if I wanted to make them each their own rice bag. So I looked through the fabric that I had, and I found fabric to use for all of them. So I made rice bags yesterday. I still have some rice left over, but my daughter-in-law said, or my daughter said, that her husband felt left out. I made cookies with the chocolate chips that she dropped off. And I made the cookies and the rice bags, so then I delivered them to my son and my daughter. So at my daughter's house, at my daughter's house, she and the boys all got rice bags. And everybody got the cookies. But she texted me later and said, "Do you have any more rice? Justin feels left out." So I said, I need to look for some manly fabric then. I think we'll just keep going with what we had. It was working. I don't think I have anything really that Justin would want in a rice bag. I mean, I know the point is for pain relief, and so it shouldn't matter what they look like, but you know, you have a choice. I'll look, and then I'll have to, if I don't have anything that would work for him, next time I go shopping, I'll have to look for some. We take stuff for granted, don't we? Just the freedom to go to the store whenever we want to, and all the choices that we used to have. Now the choices seem to be very limited in a lot of things. I think people are baking more because they're home. So that's probably why I couldn't find chocolate chips. And then we just had Easter too. People probably use chocolate chips for special Easter baking. Might as well keep going with these slides. I like them. Okay, let's start sewing. I hear the clock. That means it's noon. I'm hungry. I think I'm going to have some tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich. And I'll have to get some cookie dough out of the freezer that I just made yesterday. Maybe bake a couple cookies. I baked a bunch of them yesterday, but I gave a dozen or more to each of my kids, and that left 2 for me, and they're gone. And I think chocolate chip cookies would be an awesome dessert after grilled cheese and tomato soup, don't you? Childhood favorites. Okay. So making 8 of these little tags took some time, but I really love the way they turned out. I made 4 yesterday and 4 today. This is the one I had under a book. It's already good. The end is glued down. Okay, so here's what we made. These are yesterday's. I just added that chocolate chip on today. This just says chocolate cake. I love this one because I love that. This was yesterday's. Oh, I forgot about those. I could have been pulling that out. Well, I was using the slides today, but I really love that applique on there. And then these are today's. Got a shorter one with some vintage tatting, vintage lace, and an uncooperative metal edge. This one is really pretty with the pinks and the creams and the green. Love that one. I love them all. And I'll ink around. This one I think especially needs it because it's got the larger white areas than that. But that's really pretty. Oh, I didn't put anything at the bottom. I'll have to finish that one. And when this is more secure, I'll glue those around the back. So there we have it. This was my Stashistry, or my Somerset inspired video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I want to get cracking on those chocolate journals after I have my grilled cheese sandwich. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.